financial survival guide during the strikes. But really, I am here today to help you however I can in terms of how you are managing your money during this really tricky time. Now, I've got us going on Facebook, but next challenge, okay, yes, is the chat. So let me just get the chat up and running. If I type hello, let's make sure that that comes through. If someone who's here wants to do me a favor and just type a message in the chat so I know that if you guys are giving me questions that I am able to see them. Okay, so I will assume if someone wants to give me a hello, that would be fabulous. So for anyone who I haven't met, my name is Miata and I am the CEO. Thank you, Brandon and Jen, welcome. So I'm the CEO and founder of Abundance Bound. We are an 18-year-old financial education company specifically for actors, artists, creative professionals, all of those of us who are non-traditional earners. We do not have income that comes in regularly every 2 weeks. And such a large percentage of our community, of the Abundance Bound community, are also in the entertainment industry and are currently really being impacted by the WGA, the SAG-AFTRA strikes, and have really seen your income be significantly affected. So what we wanted to do is we wanted to just provide resources that can hopefully help you take the steps that you need to be taking during this time to keep moving you forward. And so we started, back in early July, with our first webinar, which is your financial survival guide during the strikes. That's something that you can just click and the link in our bio, and you can download that webinar if you haven't been able to watch it. And we covered 5 critical steps to managing your money in a time of crisis. And so what I am committed to doing is to going live every Friday while these strikes continue to answer your questions. Anywhere that you are stuck, where I can perhaps provide some coaching, some guidance to help you keep moving forward, that is what I am here for. Now, we were sent 2 questions in advance, so I'll go ahead and I'll start with the first one and just give, again, anyone who's here, who's joining us live, the opportunity to just type any question you have at all in the chat so that I can help you personally. So this person shared that they have been, up until the start of the strikes, they have been paying off a certain amount on their credit card with the goal of eliminating their credit card debt for this person by the end of 2024. So essentially, it looks like they started this plan at the start of 2023, and they had a set amount that they needed to pay every month to have that debt be paid off by the end of 2024. And the question is, should I continue paying off that amount during the strikes? Okay, so first of all, what I really want to celebrate here is that this person has a set amount that they have been paying. So this is a huge topic that we cover all the time, over and over again in our financial empowerment program, because what many of us have the tendency to do as non-traditional earners when it comes to our debt is we have a kind of big month in terms of earnings, and we send a big chunk to the credit cards. But then we have a not so great month the next month, and we end up utilizing the credit cards again. And it ends up putting us on what I call a debt roller coaster, right? Where we pay a big chunk off and we feel great, then we use it again and we feel not so great, and pay a big chunk off and we feel great, and the cycle continues. But what isn't happening is actually getting us out of a debt cycle. So what we really encourage is that you establish a debt plan where, unless very specific things happen in terms of your earnings, you pay the same amount every month. Okay. And what that allows is that it means in months of larger earnings, instead of automatically sending a big chunk to the credit card, we are fortifying your savings, allowing you in lower earnings months to not have to utilize the credit cards again because you have that savings. That is something that is essential for those of us who are non-traditional earners, because we will always be earning like this, okay? So I first just want to celebrate that this person does have a plan. But absolutely, what I would say is that in a time of crisis, it is absolutely acceptable and really, in most cases, encouraged to pause that plan, especially if your income has been significantly, or frankly, even slightly impacted. We have no idea how long these strikes will last. So if you are someone who is seeing a significant portion of your income gone, now is the time to essentially adjust and tighten everything. So my recommendation to this person, my answer to this question would be that I would love to see you first determine what is the minimum amount that you need to be paying on your credit card debt. Okay, so I'm assuming, based on this person's question, that they are not currently adding to the debt, that they are in or were in a place where they were just consistently paying it off. So the first step would be to determine, given the balance right now on your credit cards, what is the minimum that the credit card companies are requiring you to pay? And there's some math that we teach our members how to do, but just to give you a basic idea, for most credit cards, it is going to be the interest on the balance plus a tiny percent, probably 1%, maybe some credit cards might use 1.5 or 2%, but essentially the minimum that they're requiring you to pay is going to cover the interest and just a little bit more. Now, the thing to keep in mind about that is that even though it's just a little bit more than the interest, it is still a little bit more than the interest, which means that your debt is going in this direction. It may be really slowly going in this direction, but it is going in a downward direction. So in a time of financial uncertainty, what we want to do is start by getting clear on what's the total of the minimum that I need to pay. And for many people, while you're grounding yourself in exactly where you are right now in terms of what income is still coming in, if any, I would recommend that you pay the minimum, okay? Because what we're doing right now is we are conserving our resources. And then for this person, what we would just want to determine is there enough income to decide on a lower additional amount that you can add on to that minimum. So if you were on a plan that had the target of paying it off by the end of 2024, so like in a little bit less than 18 remaining months, it might be that for a while, just for the period of these strikes, we reduce the amount that you're paying, and maybe you're on a 3-year plan for payoff or a 4-year plan for payoff. Remember, this isn't going to be forever. It is a temporary adjustment to your debt plan that, again, I want to celebrate that you have. It's a temporary adjustment while we just get clearer on the lay of the land. Okay, so hopefully that addresses that person's question. Again, welcome everyone who has joined us. I am here to answer your questions. I'm here to help you with anything that I can in terms of how you are managing your money during the strikes. So please, if you have a question, please go ahead and type it into the chat, okay? Anything at all that I can help you with. Now, let me look here because we had another question that was specifically from the Your Monthly Number webinar that we led just this past Tuesday. Now, if you didn't join that live, or if you didn't register to join that webinar live, again, please click in the link in our bio and go ahead and download the Your Monthly Number. This is when we dove really deep, you guys, into how to best quickly, efficiently, but also accurately determine your monthly average expenses. We need you to be able to do that quickly because that is incredibly important information to have during, again, these strikes. During a time of financial uncertainty, we really need you to know what your average monthly expenses are. And so we dove step by step into that in the webinar. And I literally mean step by step how to do it. So please go grab that and watch it if you haven't already. We are only keeping that recording up until Sunday, September 3rd. So you have a little bit more than a week. Do not delay. Grab that and watch that. But what we also went through was how to organize yourself in terms of applying for grants, okay? And again, guys, we did that in a really step-by-step way. But this question that this person submitted was about, and I just want to put it in front of me, was about what I called adding to your application a statement of need, a clear statement of need. Now, for those of you who haven't seen it yet, I want to just quickly ground you in what I'm talking about. So right now, the Entertainment Community Fund, MPTF, the SAG-AFTRA Foundation, these are all organizations that do have grants available to people in the industry who qualify, okay? And you can go to their websites and you can determine the precise sort of requirements to qualify. There are a number of different funds. So don't just think, oh, well, I'm not an actor or I'm not in the union and so I'm not going to qualify. Okay, there are a number of different funds supporting people in all areas of the industry, and they all have different qualifications. All right, so don't rule yourself out. Now, these websites will also tell you very, very clearly what you need to put together in order to apply. And what we want you to understand is that these organizations are receiving literally thousands of requests on a weekly basis for grants, and they are doing incredible work. They are doing their best to respond to these requests, but you want to help them and help yourself by making sure that your application absolutely gives them everything that they're asking for. And I suggest that you go one step further by including a clear statement of need. Now, again, you can watch the recording of your monthly number and you can see how I walk you through that. But this person's question was around providing a summary of your monthly expenses. So let me explain what I mean by a statement of need. What you want to do is create a one sheet that shows that you're organized and that you've done the work to know your numbers, okay? And then what you want to do is provide on this statement of need a summary of your monthly expenses, a summary. Now, this person's question was, how detailed should that summary be? Here's what I would suggest. When you do the work to figure out what your monthly number is, okay? And again, everybody, I know I'm like a broken record, but watch the recording because I take you step by step and you can literally pause it and do the next step and then keep going. What's going to happen is you are going to come up with a number, an average monthly number, when you follow all of those steps. Now, what's going to be powerful about this average monthly number is it's not going to be this perfectly clean number. I need $5,000 a month. I need $4,000 or $6,500 a month. When we deliver those kinds of numbers, guys, it feels like what we're doing is just guesstimating. And you know why it feels that way? Because usually that's what we're doing. And I can tell you from experience that guesstimating is not going to give you an accurate number. And in order to get the help that you need, we need you to be accurate. So when you follow the steps that we give you, you will come up with a pretty precise number. Again, it's not perfect, but it is your average. It's going to be something like $4,762 or, $5,814. It's going to be an actual not a rounded number. I suggest you provide that actual number on your statement of need. Why? It indicates someone who's done the work to actually figure this out. It indicates someone who knows what their lives actually cost them and isn't just making stuff up. Now, in terms of then providing them with how you reached that number, that is where I would use more general categories. So it's going to be pretty easy for you to include, if my number is 4,672, it's going to be pretty clear, easy for me to say my rent is this much, and give them the precise number of your rent. My car payment is this month. My car insurance is this much. So do the set ones, and then to get to the rest, you can average your utilities, average your groceries and food, average your gas and transportation, but do that to reach the number that you've actually determined is true for you. Okay, so hopefully that is helpful. I don't believe that you need to deliver like every single line item of 64 line items, but I do believe that it will serve you to demonstrate that you have done the actual work of determining what your number really is. Not what you wish it was, not what you're guessing it is, but what it really is. The other things that would go on that statement of need would include any current guaranteed monthly income, any savings account and checking account balances, so that you can then provide them with the math about your inability to cover next month's bills, because that's what they need to see. And I would also include a statement of all of the things you are doing to bring in any additional income. So I would just summarize all that on a single page. Again, everybody, to make it really clear that you're serious, that you're organized, and that you're doing everything you can to help yourself during this time, so that the organizations can also do their best to help you. Now, I saw a question scroll through the chat here, so let me answer that. Thank you, Cindy. So to piggyback on the credit debt question, is it a bad idea to wait until the strike is over to attack your zero interest debt? Great question, Cindy. Okay. So this is really connected to your debt plan. So let's say that you have done the work, you've taken a look at all of your debt, and you were able to move some or all of your debt over to zero interest, to a zero interest credit card. Wonderful. So that now means that the debt isn't costing you anything in this precise moment, right? However, Cindy, what you're pointing out is that when your 0% interest debt expires, then whatever the interest rate was before, or whatever the non-promotional interest rate is what that debt is going to go back to. So in normal times, we want to utilize our period of zero interest to make regular payments. Why? Because we're bringing the balance down. That means that if I pay $50 a month, that entire $50 a month is going to reducing the balance on my debt. Whereas if I have a high interest rate on that debt, I may be paying $50 a month, and it is possible that 38 of those dollars are going towards interest, and only 12 are going towards the principal, which means that the principal is coming down much lower. So Cindy, what I would say is that, just like my answer to the person who submitted the question in advance, I would say that now is definitely the time to conserve your resources until you have more clarity. So what I would want you to do is this. I want you to do all of the homework around determining what is your current monthly number, not paying anything on the zero interest debt. Although sometimes, even though it's at zero interest, the cards still require you to make some minimum payment, right? So what I would want you to do is determine what is your monthly number, including everything and whatever that minimum amount is that the cards are requiring you to pay, if any, okay? And again, just go watch Tuesday's webinar for exactly how to determine what your number is. All right. Then I want you to look at that number, and I want you to look at how much money you currently have in your accounts. Okay. So this is what we call your runway. How much money do you have available to you? Okay, so you know your monthly number, just paying the minimum on the debt, and then you know how much money you currently have available to you. Okay, then I want you to determine, do you currently have any guaranteed income? So because of the strikes, a major part of your income may have been eliminated, but do you have any guaranteed income at this point in time? Okay, so we're going to look at your monthly number. I'm going to just make stuff up really quickly just to give you concrete numbers. So let's just say that my monthly number, what I need, and guys, here I am going to use round, clean numbers because I just want to make this easy for all of us. Let's say that my monthly number is $5,000 a month, paying the minimums on my debt. Let's say that I have right now clarity around how $2,000 a month is coming in. Okay, so that leaves me with $3,000 a month that I no longer have any clarity around where that money is coming from. All right, so then I look at my savings. Okay, I look at the balances and all of my accounts. And let's just say that I have, making this up, $6,000 in my savings, okay? That would mean that right now, if the strikes were to continue and I continue to just have that $2,000 that I know is still coming in, that would mean that with my $3,000 that I have left to cover, my runway is only 2 months. Okay, my runway is only 2 months, and we have no idea when these strikes will end, and we have no idea how long it will take for production to ramp back up when the strikes end. So once I have that assessment, Cindy and everyone, that, okay, I only have 2 months worth of runway, I would absolutely say to myself, now is not the time for me to be hitting that zero interest debt any harder, right? Because the reality is that once my runway is done, I may end up needing to incur additional debt, okay? And so we want to delay that as long as is possible for our situation. Now, if I do this homework of getting clear about my monthly number, getting clear about my runway, and I have an 8-month cushion, then it may absolutely make sense for me to be continuing to attack, is the word that Cindy, that you used, for me to continue chipping away at that zero interest debt, so that again, I am reducing it while it remains at zero interest. Okay. So the way that you determine that is by really getting clear. And I would far, far rather that we delay you attacking that zero interest debt. I would far rather that we delay that than that we put you in a precarious position where you then have to turn around and utilize debt that may not be at zero interest. Okay, because it is very possible that the debt that you have sitting at zero interest doesn't allow for new purchases, which would mean that if you drain your runway, you could then end up having to utilize debt at a much higher interest rate. Okay, so I love that you're asking this question. This is also something that tends to really bring up the pain and power cycle, which we talk a lot about in your financial survival guide during the strikes. Because we have an emotional desire to pay our debts back as quickly as we can. But as non-traditional earners, this is something that we talk about a lot in our community. As non-traditional earners, we want to resist that desire to just throw all the money at the credit card debt, to just get it off of our brains for a little while. We want to resist that urge and focus instead on the behaviors that stabilize us. Okay, so Cindy and everyone, we can absolutely, when the strikes end, at that point, you will reestablish your debt plan. Okay, and we'll look at where you are at that point, and you will establish a new debt plan. So this is just like the question that we got sent in advance. At that point, we'll establish a new debt plan. And maybe it will no longer be to have it done by the end of 2024. It might be an additional 6 months or an additional year, but it is about keeping ourselves as financially stable as possible. That's one of the biggest skills and muscles that we have to build as non-traditional earners. Okay, thank you. That's an excellent question. So those were all of the questions that I was sent in advance for today, plus this extra one that came through the chat. So I just want to give an opportunity. I'm scrolling through to make sure I didn't miss anything. I want to give an opportunity here. If there's anyone who has joined us who has a question, anyone at all with a question, please go ahead and type it in the chat. This time is for you. You can just get some personalized private coaching. Anything at all that you are negotiating, trying to figure out that I can help you with? Okay, my cushion is 4. Okay, perfect. So you have that clarity. Thank you. This is very helpful. Perfect, Cindy. Okay, your cushion is 4 months. So let's September, October, November, December. Great. So Cindy is essentially in a position where you have a cushion through the end of the year. I would say, Cindy, let's just breathe, hold off. Don't make any big moves in terms of the zero interest debt, okay? I would just focus on anything you can do to bring in some additional income to just build that cushion a little further. And obviously, if anything changes in terms of your income, you can then reevaluate. But I would say, excuse me, everyone, I would say we don't know, right? But based on the reports we're seeing, I definitely think we have to be prepared for this to go to the end of the year, or certainly to go long enough that production is not really ramping back up before the end of the year. So I would encourage you to really be focusing right now on anything that you can do to earn, and just anything you can do. This is for everyone, to cut back on our spending. We just want to give ourselves as much of a runway as possible. Good for you for getting the debt over to zero interest. And let's just wait until you have more information before going further there. So let's see, Madison, 2 questions here. So first of all, does the 80-20 versus 50-30-20 budget work better? Okay, Madison. So basically, what everybody knows who has worked with me at all, I do not believe that the 80-20 or the 50-30-20 budgets work largely for non-traditional earners. Now, I'm not 100% sure what you're referring to when you say 80-20, when you say 80-20 particularly, but in terms of the 50-30-20, okay, everybody, what that basically assumes is it says, everyone, when it comes to your budget, right, 50% of the money that you earn should go towards your needs, okay? Your absolute needs, your lodging, so your rent or your mortgage, your food, your transportation, your insurance, like the needs. 30% should go to your wants, and 20% should go to paying back debt and or building wealth if you don't have debt, okay? Madison, okay, you're saying you've heard people say 80-20 is better for self-employed people, 80% to your needs and 20% to your savings. Okay. I don't believe that percentages work for non-traditional earners, period, right? We don't use them in the financial empowerment program community. We don't use them. They can be interesting information to have, right? Interesting information to have. But here's the tricky thing about those systems, which is a really big part of why Abundance Bound exists. And it's what we are really fighting for out in the world of financial education. What these rules assume is they assume you know exactly how much money is coming in every month. That's what they assume. And for most non-traditional earners, that's not the case. Now, if you are a self-employed person who has very clear contracts and you really largely know things change, but you largely know how much money is coming in, then that can be something that can serve you, where you look and you say, okay, and I'm only doing this because I'm bad at math. I'm not doing this to use big numbers, okay, everybody? But you know that if you've got $10,000 a month coming in, that you know that 5,000 would go towards your needs, and 3,000 would go towards your wants, and 2,000 would go towards your debt plan and your wealth plan, right? Or Madison, that 80% would go, so in that case, it would be 8,000 would go to my needs and wants, and 20% would go to my wealth building, my debt, my savings, okay? So if I knew that that's how much money was coming in, that would be useful. To me, most of us as non-traditional earners, we have to go the other way. We teach a system that has you approach, actually, we put the earnings over in a separate box for a second, and we have you just focus on how you are spending, right now. We have you get incredibly clear about what those numbers look like. Then that tells us how much money right now is going to things that are your needs. It tells us how much money is going towards your wants. It tells us how much money is going towards debt and how much money is going towards savings. And it also tells each of us as non-traditional earners what it is we need to generate to meet that need, right? It tells us, okay, instead of where most of us are, which is just, I need to earn more money, right? It tells us, given the lifestyle I am living, this is how much I need. And that, as non-traditional earners, it is absolutely critical that we know it, because that is what will make us more powerful as we go out to create those earnings. It is absolute fact that we do better in terms of earning when we know what it is we actually need, okay? Now, Madison, I feel like it's helpful once I've approached it from the way I just described of, okay, this is what I'm actually spending. Throw percentages out the window. This is just the truth. It's certainly helpful for you to look at that total and say, what percent of it is my needs? What percent of it is what I consider my wants? What percentage of it is going to my savings and my debt plans? So you can see. But the thing is that if I'm someone who lives in Los Angeles, in New York, in Atlanta, right away, that 50, 30, 20 is going to be really screwed, because it is very, very difficult to be living in those places and to have your needs come under that 50% mark. Because in many cases, if you're living in Los Angeles, it is very possible that your rent alone is 50% of what you have coming in every month. That's incredibly difficult, but it is a reality about living in some of these cities. Okay, so fundamentally, I just have a different approach. I think that all of these kind of rules that are out there, can they inform us? Sure, but I believe that you're going to cause yourself more pain than gain by trying to approach your life that way. I just think these rules weren't necessarily made for us. Okay. Now, I believe you had another question. You said, what are some ways to make money during these never-ending strikes? All the work dried up. So first of all, Madison, I want to give you a heads up that this is a topic that we are going to be, this was topic 5 from our financial survival guide during the strikes. And it is one that in the coming weeks, we're going to be diving deeper into. But I would say that, one of the things that I say a lot when we're not in a crisis situation, I say this all the time, financially powerful people have multiple streams of income. Okay, that's just true. It's not something I believe, it is a fact. When we look at financially powerful people, They never are depending on a single source of income. We saw this during the pandemic. Our financial empowerment program members who had been working prior to the pandemic to strengthen their streams of income moved through the pandemic with so much greater ease than those who were simply still dependent on a single source of income. And we're seeing that again now. And everyone, this is not me trying to shame any of us or be like, you see, it is just simply that the sooner we embrace having multiple streams of income, the easier a time we are going to have weathering the storms that are going to keep coming. They are an aspect of these also beautiful lives that we lead as non-traditional earners. You guys, most of us love what we do. We get so much joy from doing these things. Those are the good parts. There are also some really sucky parts. And things like this, crisis times like these, are the sucky parts, but they're always going to keep coming. So what I would say is that now is a really great time to be exploring what are the other ways that you, in all of your awesomeness, can be generating income, because that will make you stronger, not just now, but for your entire life as a creative, as an artist. I don't know, Madison, what part of this industry you're in, but whatever part of this beautiful industry you're in, you will be stronger if you find additional ways that you can generate income. For the short term, we have members who are doing all kinds of things. We have members who have gone and who have applied and taken jobs at just normal, regular places. We've got people who've gone and taken part-time jobs at Trader Joe's, at Starbucks, at different places like that. We have people who are substitute teaching. This is guys, there's a shortage in all of our schools. And frankly, this is also, students have been through a really, really rough time over these last few years since the pandemic. They are hurting and they need some positive energy and love in the classroom. Teachers are absolutely overworked, underpaid, have been pushed past every human limit. Now is a time when you can go be of service while also serving yourself, right? I think that the more that you're willing to actually ask the question, how am I willing to put myself out there in this time? Tempwork, the Entertainment Community Fund, they have a workshop coming up that is specifically about tempwork. I would also be looking at all of the skills that you have and asking, is there a group of people, preferably people who are not in the industry? That's something really, right, guys? If you already have a business that serves people in the industry, great. If you do not already have a business serving people in the industry, what I would really suggest is that you are looking at your talents and what are other groups of people who are not right now in a financial crunch. What are other groups of people that you could serve? Okay, but I definitely recommend checking out the Entertainment Community Fund's upcoming workshop about tempwork. I recommend if you are on social media, I recommend really being willing to be out and open about what your skills are and the services that you can offer people. Now is the time to use all of our incredible creativity to find things that we can do. Okay, so I hope that is helpful. Oh, and yes, you're very welcome. Let's see. What would you say? Hey, Dawn, would you say keep your liquid as much as possible right now, or throw it at overpaying debt? Oh, so yes, Dawn, you joined us after we dove into this question, but I love the way that you are framing it. Keep your liquid as much as possible. Do not throw it at overpaying debt. Definitely not. We want to just move into a consistent, basic debt plan, which is the minimums on the debt plus a little bit more. And we want to recognize that that is the power cycle thing to do. Okay. All the emotion that says to you, I should be paying more. No. What we should be doing right now is grounding ourselves in the reality of this time. And yes, Dawn, hang on to that liquid, calculate your runway. Everybody's tightening in every possible way in this moment. And we will re-attack the debt with a more aggressive plan when the time is right for that. Okay? Is it a good idea to try a personal loan to consolidate debt from credit cards? Sorry if you've already addressed this and I missed it. No worries at all. So, okay. Our very next, okay, and I'm not trying to put you off, B, our very next, and I'll give you an exact date, live seminar is going to be specifically on taming your debt. And I'm going to be diving into that in more detail. That is going to be, we'll announce it and we'll put up the links, but just to mark your calendar, that is going to be Tuesday, September 5th at 5 p.m. Pacific. So I'm going to go into a lot more detail about this. However, now let me just think a second. I want to think about the resources that were in the last seminar. Give me 1 second, because I want to really give you the best information here. So yes, no, it isn't. There wasn't information on that in the last one. Here's what I need you to look at. Okay, I need you to look at what is your current credit score. Okay, what's your current credit score? And then, and we shared this in the last live. I don't have the link on hand. So if you want to email us, I'm happy to find the link and share it with you. Just email info@abundancebound.com. Once you know your credit score, there's a site, I believe it was a Credit Karma link, that shares, based on your credit score, the consolidation loans that you have a good chance of qualifying for. Okay. Now, this is really important, because the issue, yes, it would always be great to get a consolidation loan that is at a lower interest rate than you're currently paying. That would always be great. The challenge is that many of us may have a hard time qualifying for a lower interest consolidation loan. Okay, so what we want to know first is where, based on your credit score, you fall in terms of what you're likely to qualify for. And what this link will show you is it will also show you, based on your credit score, what interest rate, if you qualify for the loan, what interest rate you're likely to get. So recently in one of our financial empowerment program coaching sessions, we really went through this live with one of our members, and we looked at all of the interest rates that they were currently paying. And then we looked at, based on their credit score, what interest rate they were likely to qualify for. Because what I don't want you to do is I don't want you to jump into a consolidation loan that actually makes you feel better because it's a single payment, but that actually, because of your credit score, you don't qualify for a better interest rate than you already have. And we have to look carefully, guys, because some of us have 3 or 4 credit cards, and it may be 15% on one, and it may be 19% on another, and it may be 23% on another, but we have to actually do the math on what that debt is costing us, because if we go and qualify for a consolidation loan, but because of your credit score, you qualify for a 20% loan, we have to make sure that your numbers make that consolidation loan actually make sense. Okay, so there's more information that I would want you to gather. And again, if you go ahead and email us, I'll share the link so that you can check and see, am I likely to qualify? And then, of course, if you are in the industry, I would recommend looking at consolidation loans that are available from some of the entertainment credit unions, because again, depending, you might have an easier time qualifying there, and just see whether it feels like it's a good idea for you. Okay, so hopefully that helps. And again, happy to give you that link if you just go ahead and email. Let's see, any other questions? Might be entitled to compensation. Big facts. Good. You guys are, some of my tribe have applied to universities to teach. Excellent. Excellent. Have applied to universities and colleges. Great. And you'll share your seminars. Okay, perfect. Yes, we would be happy to. All the links to these seminars are in our bio for the link tree thing for Instagram. So please share, guys. And this is for everyone who's here. Dewan, you have an incredible community. For anyone who doesn't know Dewan, just an incredible actor and coach who has been in service to actors in this industry for more years than I can count. And so thank you, Dewan, for being willing to share this with your folks. But please, everyone, share your financial survival guide during the strikes. Please share that with your friends, your colleagues. There's no sales pitch in it. It is just information that will hopefully be helpful during this time. And I do want to share again, everyone, that our subsequent, so your financial survival guide during the strikes was a 90-minute webinar. We included a Q&A. We will keep that resource available forever. You can just go grab it. The individual workshops that we're doing, breaking down each of these topics in more detail, we are limiting the time that those are available. Why are we limiting the time that they're available? Because otherwise, we're all human. We will just put it off forever. Now is when you need the information. So I want you to give yourself the gift of listening to, watching the information now so that you can take the actions that are best for you. So right now, the Your Monthly Number workshop that we just did on Tuesday, that is on the in the link tree. Grab it, watch it. Such details. I used one of my own statements to show you exactly how to do this work. Please go grab it. We're going to take that down on Sunday, September 3rd. Okay, so please grab it and share. Let me see. Thank you so much for addressing my question. Excellent information. So glad. I'm so glad it's helpful. Yes, Dewan, the Linktree thing. I am not very techy, but you guys, I'm pretty impressed with myself now doing these Instagram lives. That feels like a big step for this incredibly non-techy person. You guys, wonderful questions. Thank you. Thank you for coming. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for bringing your issues. I am committed to going live every Friday, 1 p.m. Pacific, for as long as these strikes continue. So please dive into the videos, keep track of your questions, anything you're struggling with. Type up the question for yourself so you can just cut and paste it into the chat. Share with your friends, your community, anyone who is being affected by these strikes. This is an opportunity to just get some coaching, some support during what is unquestionably a challenging time. All right. Have a wonderful weekend, everyone. Keep on doing the best you can. I am awed every day by the strength of the entertainment community, what we are withstanding, what we are fighting for. And I so celebrate that, because it is only by banding together in this way that we will have a solid path forward. Have a great weekend, everyone, and I will see you very, very soon. Bye.